Tired of ads barging into your favorite news podcasts? Good news. Ad-free listening on Amazon Music is included with your Prime membership. Just head to amazon.com/ad-free news podcasts to catch up on the latest episodes without the ads. Enjoy thousands of Acast shows ad-free for Prime subscribers. Some shows may have ads.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold! Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 up front for 3 months plus taxes and fees. Promo rate for new customers for limited time. Unlimited more than 40 gigabytes per month. Slows full terms at mintmobile.com.
Welcome guys, and welcome to Heavy Metal Tones. You might hear I sound a bit snuffly. I apologise guys, I'm not actually really sick. I just had my booster shot for the Pfizer vaccine to do my bit for the world, and yesterday morning, and it's really thrown me about. So if I sound a bit off, I really am very sorry guys. Anyway, here's my bit for the nation and for the world. Go and get jabbed, please. That's my public announcement broadcast for you. Anyway, so this week's episode is about the last gig I just went to on Saturday night, the 13th of November 2021. So we'll date that a bit. It was Witchskull at the Basement here in Canberra, supported by BC and Charlotte and the Harlots. Firstly, let's just talk about the Basement first, and then we'll get into the bands. So you've heard me mention on this podcast numerous times about my love of the Basement. So the reason that I enjoyed that environment so much, it's like a home from home for me. I go there and I'm instantly calm and at peace. I don't have to pretend. I don't have to show off. I don't have to be the big I am or any. Not that I do that anyway, but people just accept me. If I'm wearing a Venom jacket, well, they're going to go, yeah, man, how cool. They're not judging me. You know, it's a really good environment. And every time I go there, and Nick, the owners are there, and people I know all the time are there. And it's just, you see the same faces, you see new faces, but you see the same faces, and that's a really comforting thing. A, for the music scene, but B, for yourself in personal, just it's nice to be known, like Cheers, everyone knows your name sort of thing. And at this time round, I had a bit of, my normal gigging partner of late, Benji, was not well, sadly. I had a spare ticket, and Dave, who I gig with many, many times before, but he's often very busy, he's got a young family. I was like, well, okay, I'll see if Dave wants to come. And he'd never seen Witchskull before, so he was a Witchskull virgin, and I think it blew his mind personally. He had a really good time. That's another thing about great gigs, isn't it? Great gigs, you remember them. They're just like moments in your life where you go, geez, I remember that. That was an amazing moment. And I'm going to recant it. I asked Dave if I could say it, and he said he was okay. But we were at Soundwave. Now, I can't tell you how many years ago. I think it might have been 7, 8 years ago. Anyway, one of the really good lineups, and it had Dragon Force on the lineup, and you could do a meet and greet. Now, Dave is a huge Dragon Force fan, absolutely loves them. His son got him a cameo video message for his birthday from Herman Lee, and to say it was very moving. He loves them. I like them as well. I've got to say I really hate the last album, but anyway, that's by the by. Same with Ghost. Ghost, I think we're on the same lineup. They may have been. Anyway, that was early Ghost. Good Ghost. Anyway, so Dave being Dave, he's not a uniform kind of guy. He'll wear what he wants to wear. He's fine, man. But he wore this sort of blue flannelette. I think it's blue. Now, I'm sorry, Dave, I got that wrong, but it was a flannelette sun hat. You know, one of those sort of beach hats. And he's in the gig and he's at the front and he's moving around. We're getting jostled and he's enjoying the show. It was quite hot, I remember, because my wife and Dave's daughter also came along under the trees in the shade, and we're getting going. Anyway, oh no, that was Ghost. Apologise, I'm getting sidetracked, but they were there. Anyway, we went into the meet and greet that same day, and you paid your money and you shuffled in, and you couldn't say much. You just shuffled up to the band, handed over what you're getting signed. I got a ticket signed. Dave had other things that was getting signed, and Herman Lee and the guitarist, they look up. Sorry, and the lead singer, they look up, and there's Dave in his flannelette bucket hat, and they just nudged each other, and all the band looked up, and Herman goes, "Look, the hat." So they'd obviously seen it in the crowd, and it amused them, and I love that moment, because now, forever, ever, Dave has got that moment where his favourite band in all the world recognised him and went, "The hat." Unbelievable. And you know what? We giggled. Dave walked away 10 feet tall off the ground. It was brilliant. Anyway, that's the kind of gig experience that I like. In the basement, you turn up. It's in an industrially part of the town, tucked away. It's got, you go in through the restaurant Chompies, and you can see the pool tables, and then you go through into the gig, and the restaurant has great food. I had a great burger there and chips with Dave. It was fantastic. They have good beer. And then you go in and you've got now, when I first went there, it was half the size, and the banners were hand painted on the back of the stage. And now they've got a big digital display for the band, and it's wider, it's longer. It's there's more selection on the bar. Anyway, that is just brilliant. It's there's guitars all signed on the walls and hanging from the ceiling. For me, it's I grew up in London, going to places like the Marquee and the Hope and Anchor and the Town and Country Club and the Astoria. So any of you English people are listening to these sort of venues back in the late 80s or mid 80s and early 90s, when they were really dingy, dirty places where rock and roll lives. If you ever want to breed the spirit of rock and roll, if you even need the DNA of it, it's not in a big stadium, it's not in a massive festival, it's in some dirty, dark club where the back room's got graffiti all over the walls, it stinks, so you piss, sorry people, it smells like stale beer, and the floors are sticky. Now, I'm not saying that the basement is that, it doesn't, it's not, it's a little bit above that, it's not quite like that, but it has that DNA, and it's built into it. It's what's important about that particular place, and it's really important that Nick and Mick have rescued it, sort of, because it would probably just disappear. And they've relogoed, and they've got a passion for it, which is just wonderful. And it gives me a sense of warmth, of well-being, that I know that this particular place is in the hands of loving people who are going to nurture it, and not just rob you for every dollar that comes through the door, and not just put on any shitty old band. They put on all sorts of stuff, man. It's known for heavy metal, but they do all sorts of cover bands. I've been to some fantastic Blondie cover acts there, and Misfits and the Ramone cover bands. It's just really good. Anyway, so enter the first night, comes the first band, BC. Really interesting. Now, I'd not done my research, as I'm not feeling very well for this particular band. So, guys, if you're listening, it's not because I don't care. It's just I need to sort of conserve my energy a bit. But BC, 2 bass players. No guitarists, 2 bass players and a drummer. Really funky. I mean, I'm a bass player, so, it's sort of interested me. There were times when it was like, oh my God, I could do with some high end here. It's all bottom end. But people got up and they moved. I went on the second night. It was they played over 2 nights, the Friday and the Saturday. I think the Friday had more of a crowd. Saturday nights wasn't as busy, but the weather was shit, honest with you. Anyway, so they were good. Again, 40-minute set. Nothing memorable, but nothing outrageously awful either. The thing about Witchskull, I was talking to the band, and they like to have on their venue, on their support bands, completely different genres. He said, like Tone, the bass player, said, do you really want to have 3 heavy, dirgy bands? You can be in the mood for it, but it doesn't give the support act any difference. It just mushes into one. And then the second band, fun is an understatement with this guy. It's really fun. A band called Charlotte and the Harlots. The female fronted guitarist, she plays a 12-string Dan Electric. I think it was Dan Electric. It was a 12-string anyway. And they do, fun, pop, punky, soft metally stuff. They did a Ramones cover and a couple of other covers. The fans got into it. They move around the stage. They throw some shapes. It's actually really, really, really enjoyable. I thought, I didn't, again, you got to, as you get to my age, you got to spread your night out a bit. So I sort of sat down a bit at the back for that one. No disrespect for you, Charlotte and Harlots, if you're listening. Brilliant. Keep going. The scene needs more of people like you around, just to give spark the fire of rock and roll in people's hearts. Again, why is my tap? Sorry. You come for this wonderful experience, don't you? Anyway, keyboards. So yes, that's the Basement in Hull. I wish I could. I first went there over 11 years ago, and I saw Paul Di'Anno, and me and Dave got a photograph with him, and we both looked lovely and younger then. It was a great night because it was Paul Di'Anno. In fact, why wouldn't it be? Yes, he butchered the music, and yes, he can't sing. And there's Paul, another friend of ours, that's left. I don't care. It was just being within feet of rock and roll royalty, The DNA, the greatest band of the last, heavy metal band anyway, ever. So it had to be there, really. Saw him twice there, amazing. I've been to some very small gigs. I went and saw Reckless Eric there, and there was about 5 of us. Brilliant, that was. Absolutely brilliant. I've been and saw Hugh Cornwell there. It was rammed. We saw Dragon Force there. Didn't like that particular. It was 380 people. Nicky was telling me at that gig. The trouble with that is it just, because of the size they are, the fans came and they didn't respect the venue. I didn't feel. There was lots of pushing and shoving and punching and idiots, and I'm going to shoot myself in the foot here by saying this because a lot of Canberrans listen to my podcast, but it was what public servants think going to a heavy metal concert is. Yeah. You got to learn. I'm not saying that everyone should be the same, but there's respect, There's respect in rock and roll. There's respect in the audience. If you look at the audience and it's all full of 18-year-olds, punch away, whatever you want. But don't do it when you know that the demographic is slightly older, particularly here in Canberra, and particularly at the Basement, actually. It does have some really, really big gigs, and they sell out, Screaming Jets, apparently you couldn't get in. So there are amazing times to be that way, but what for that one? Anyway, again, I'm not reviewing that gig, I'm reviewing Witchskull. So, I'm going to go and get myself some lemon tea this time, guys. A lemon tea with a bit of honey, and rock and roll, baby. And I'll be back, and then we'll have a chat about the band, and we'll talk about the gig. Anyway, I will see you on the other side. Bye, guys. Welcome back, guys. Lemon tea on. I'm not going to tell you what I'm wearing if you don't want to know what I'm wearing. Just my dressing gown. I'm just not feeling great. Anyway, Russell, set list. I collect set lists. So if you ever see me at a gig, if you ever come up to see me at a gig and you're at the front with me, you tough tits. That set list is mine. I get them and I date them, nerd, because then I slip it in with one of the records maybe, because then I look back and I go, yeah, that was a gig, that was a date, that's what they played, and I can reminisce in my own little space, right? It's also just the ephemera, as I mentioned before in other podcasts. I love rock and roll ephemera, Is what it is. Anyway, so Witchskull. For those international listeners and those home listeners who don't know who they are, shame on you. Anyway, they are a 3-piece band formed in Canberra from the ashes of several other bands like the wonderful and amazing, and please go and check them out in the early stuff, Armored Angel, and Under Oath, and other projects, but they're the two main ones. You have Tony, I'm going to butcher your name, Tone, I'm so sorry, Mahone on bass from America. Typical bass player, really for me, giant of a man, full of fun, full of life, full of stories. Man, the stories he was telling us and Dave about his times at CBGB's in New York and getting into early African electro like me when I was youth. We have very similar people. Just amazing. And, he's like all the great bass players. He's like John Entwistle and Chris Squire. He holds the bass like it's a twig. Just brilliant. And on stage, you can't take your eyes off him sometimes. You just can't. He demands his side of the stage so well. And then on drums, you've got Joel Green. Now, here's a drummer and a half. Right? Again, you don't play as long as these guys have been playing. And I'm talking about these guys have been playing for 30 odd years. Joel Green, what a drummer, right? He doesn't have a giant 18-piece behemoth of a drum kit. He doesn't need it. He just doesn't need it. He's got such skills on those skins that he brings a sound to the music that, and I'll get to the music in a minute, that just is great. He hides away. He's not a extrovert drummer. He just gets on and does his thing. But what he brings to the band is pure thumping goodness. And then you've got on guitars and vocals. Now here's a guy, Marcus Di Pasquale. He's a little flying V. He's always moving. He's always throwing shapes. He doesn't play million note solos. This music doesn't need that. He is crunching, aggressive, melodic, and he's and inventive, and his vocals are there. Again, I'm going to get back to that in a second. We'll talk about the music in a second, but he is one of the most underrated guitarists, vocalists on the planet, I think. We're very lucky to be little Canberra, to have this band as their leading light of the metal scene in Canberra. We are very, very lucky. Very lucky indeed. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting too close to the mic because so it's a 13-song, 14-song lineup this night, with a new song chucked in and a new cover version. So, describe their music, Tony. Why do I describe it? So, they call themselves a new wave of British heavy metal band mixed with doom. I would call them more of a doom band with a hint of new album and a hint of thrash, but not even that really. I think they're just almost stoner doom, and I think that the bands would appreciate that. They make think of Candlemass and Black Sabbath and Cathedral and Saint Vitus, and squeeze them together, and this is what you get. Truly, I'm not saying this because I know the guys. I'm genuinely saying this from the bottom of my heart, This is the greatest doom band on the planet. You could put them on in any lineup, guys. Any fucking lineup. On any major... It's a crime that they're not headlining major venues. They know that. They've had management issues in the past and not been... Like I said to them ages ago, why weren't they supporting Sabbath at their final tour? They should have been. They were number one in the Doom charts all over the world for the album. One of the second album, Coven's Will. But no, they weren't. It happens. That's the way it is. They're happy where they are. Good on them. I still think they've got potential to be bigger. So they've released 3 albums. The Vast Electric Dark, Coven's Will, and the latest one, Driftwood Cross. It says it all, really. The lyrics are mystical. Their music is trance-like. I have the worst sore neck this morning, and I love it. I don't care. It's part of it. It's a bang-over. It's what I get. As Dave said, make sure you put your chiropractor on Dage and money. I can't help myself. It's like when I see Killing Joke. I get into a trance. I don't know the gig is finished. I don't even know I'm there. It's the same with them. I just get into this rhythmic, powerful, non-stop. Because their music isn't structured in a way, chorus, verse, chorus, blah, blah, get on, rock and roll. It's almost, and this is going to sound weird, guys, when I say this, but it's almost like cyclical, like the sound of... the didgeridoo. You ever hear it overseas, guys? If you don't know what the didgeridoo sounds like, it's an Aboriginal musical instrument, wooden instrument, and it's used with circular breathing. It has a circular motion, sort of sound, tribalistic, and this is what I get from these guys. Anyway, so they come on, they got this show. It's straight with bang. Hit the mic again. Straightforward. Now you have several songs from several of their albums. You've got Raven. So I'm going to give you the set list. So we had Raven, Baphomet, we had Snake. Now, bear with me. I'm so sorry. I'm going to pause that. They've just put the abbreviated terms on the set list. I'm not thinking straight. Give me a moment. I'm going to come back and I'll give you the full names. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm back now. I know these songs off the top of my head, but because I'm not feeling great, sorry. It was just somewhere. So, Raven, Baphomet's Child, Son of the Snake, Red Altar, Black Cathedrals, Nero Order, Silent Place, Vast Electric Dark, Winter. No, for some reason my brain won't let me know what that one is, but they can tell me, it'd be great. A new song, which was Sun Carver, which was really bloody hell. That was just... I'll get to that in a second. And then Breathing Blue Light, which is my favourite song of theirs. And then of course they did the cover as a encore for AC/DC's Sin City, which is brilliant. Anyway, so each one of those songs could break your neck if you're not sure, if you're not careful. The rhythmic moments in them is so beautiful and so encapsulated in each song. They don't just drag it out. They're very clever musicians, so they'll play 2 minutes or minute 30 seconds of a really good heavy rocking heavy metal riff, and chugging along, and then like typical good doom, it's quite dirgy and you just can get into a good rhythm. Highlights for me, of course, I think was hitting a new song, Sun Carver. I'm always going to be wowed when you're there for a new song when a band is working new material. It's always an exciting experience. I was there when at Black Sabbath with the Tony Martin Headless Cross tour, we're working some stuff for TYR, so amazing. Silent Nero Order, wow, amazing. Black Cathedrals. It's difficult to say if you could really. Their work is so. There's only 3 albums for, as I said, 3 albums. So could you play the whole lot of it? Yeah, you could, but you'd be there all night. Their songs they sit around the 6 to 7 minute. I'm going to check that right now, guys. 6 to 7 minute sort of running times. Where are we? Come on. Yeah, because the albums stretch out at sort of 38 minutes and 32 seconds long. So, and there's only, a handful of songs on each album. So they sort of sit around the 5 to 6 minute mark. And so it's just enough time for you to really get your teeth into it. Anyway, I've seen them now more times than I can remember. Every single time, Big Tone on bass will come up and have a chat. He's, again, so will Joel. Marcus is a bit quieter, but that's Marcus. That's his character. He's so full of energy that I think when he finishes off stage, he just needs to sit down and drink or have a smoke or whatever he's doing, quietly to himself. But that's another thing beautiful about the Basement. Is, that they come off stage and they walk around and you chat to them. There's no hero worship. Of course there is hero worship, but there's no pretense, no barriers. And that's how rock and roll should be. The Pistols often would come off stage and walk around, talk to the audience. All the bands that I've ever loved have done that. Obviously, not the giant Iron Maidens and the Sabbaths and the Purples of this world. No, of course, they're not going to. But they would have done it one time before the constraints of being famous, really big. I'm sorry that I'm not the most eloquent today, as I feel quite rough. But yeah, look, for those out there overseas and those in this country here, please make an effort. You can stream their last 2 albums on Spotify. The first one's not on there, which is a crime. You can buy copies of it now, a bit very overpriced. I don't mean that because it's worth every dollar it's on it. But the band would say to them, they're not going to make any extra from that. If someone sells you that vinyl for $200, the band's not getting any dollars from that. That's what I mean by that. When I say overpriced, it's a wonderful album. That's not what I meant. What I mean is try and get it at a reasonable cost, and from someone legitimate, then the band will get some dollars from it. I don't think you will. It was released in 2015 and there's not many copies. I have my black and red vinyl copy and I adore it. Hands off. But people, please go and check them out. Their merch is amazing. There is a DVD coming out with them live at the Polish club, which I went to. Amazing. Second night, fireworks. It was just brilliant. Hopefully that will come out soon and you'll get to see them. YouTube them. You can go to see them on YouTube, their live shows and their brilliant videos. You can buy from their merch from them. And I've got so many shirts. In fact, guys, I accidentally bought another one of the same shirt in size medium. Anyone out there, and I mean anyone who's a medium who would like a Witchskull shirt, please, I'm happy to send it to you. I mean, anywhere in the world, just contact me at heavymetaltones@gmail.com. That's heavymetaltones@gmail.com, and I will happily post it to you because, hey, I'd love to spread the word. And I mean anywhere. Any of the strangest corners of the planet, and I have people listen to me on every continent. So if you want one, be my guest. The band got the money, which is all I worry about, and then we can, pardon me, we can spread the word around a bit. My tea is going a bit cold. One second, I'm just going to take a sip. I should be back in a second. Thanks, guys. No one wants to hear an old man sipping on lemon tea. Or if they do, it's a completely different niche podcast, and I'm not involved in that one. Anyway, what's coming up next? So we're coming into the December months. I'm going to do, hopefully, I'm thinking of doing a thing called the 7 Dates of Noel, which is the Christmas week. I'm hoping to do a 10-minute episode for 7 days. You might hate it, you might like it. I don't know. I'm going to try and record them all in advance. If you've any ideas of what you'd like me to talk about in those 7 dates, let me know. Otherwise, like all of that channel, it's quite fluid. It might change. It might be different. I'm going to be doing, hopefully might have a guest next week, but I'm doing Lord Weird Slough next week, guys. Little one for you. Do some homework. They're now called Slough. They're originally called Lord Weird Slough. They write amazing, experimental, progressive metal concept albums. Gamers love them. Gamers know them. I'm not a gamer, but Benji, who's a big gamer, got onto them, loves them, and I said I'd do it because I think he wants to come on and have a chat about them, and it will open the mind of people who don't know about them. You might enjoy it, you might not. Hey, like the Venom episode, like the Allende episode, like the Sabaton episode. If you've never heard these albums, they don't. If you're paying for a streaming service, what's it costing you to give it a go? 30 odd minutes of your time. If you've spent 30 minutes listening to this old geezer chatting away, then it's not a bad thing to do, is it? To give a few cents to these people. And a lot of these bands, I've got bands I listen to on Spotify that have like 20 listeners, right? And Dave was telling me, he's a Patreon member of a band in America that has very few followers, but what it does have is an amazing business plan with its Patreon. Free shirts at the top level, free shirts a year, CDs, video calls, interviews, live shows streamed because they couldn't go out because of COVID. Brilliant concept. So this is the thing about music, isn't it? So I'm rambling, and it's not about the gig, but this is what Witchskull do as well. So this all does link back. They're very proactive. Going out there and getting gigs. They played at the height of lockdown when we everyone had to sit down. I didn't go to that gig because I couldn't. Unfortunately, I had other plans. But sitting down and playing to an audience that really is hard to. It's not sitting down and listening to Witchskull is like swimming with your wellies on, or I don't know. It's just not right, is it? It's just stupid. It makes no sense. But it is what rock and roll is. It has to survive. It has to mutate. And thanks for the patronage of Mick and Nick Bergerson. And if I've mispronounced your name, I am so sorry, guys. Again, I'm really bad with names. I love those two guys. I really do. They're full of passion, and they've saved. Not that this wasn't going, but they've revitalized one of the world's most important music venues. Now, I don't care what you say. Yes, I remember the Marquee very vividly. It is no longer there anymore. I went back to England 10 years ago and it's gone. It's gone. No Marquee. How ridiculous is that? Now that should have a blue plaque and that should be saved by the government. But no, it's not there anymore. It's just ridiculous. Do you think of the bands that went through that venue? Unsigned and Signed, Maiden, the Pistols, the Damned. I mean, I'm just pulling out of my head here. Metallica, my good friend Crazy Mick saw Metallica, unsigned or just signed at the Marquee. Early Metallica. Crazy. And it's not there now. It's lost. And I think that's really, really sad. It's the same with the Astoria. The Astoria, what a great place that was. 2 Level used to be a cinema, turned into a music venue. I saw some amazing. I used to go to a gig. I used to get in because I was too young. I wasn't 18. I used to have fake ID and get in to every Friday. I think it might be the first Friday or first Monday of the month. A thing called The Web, which was a heavy metal, heavy rock disco. And some of the sights I saw there, guys, and if I wasn't grey then, I should have been. But it was an amazing place to go. Right? And, that's not really there anymore now, either. The Hammersmith Odeon has a different name. The Town and Country Club is completely something different. The CBGB's in America is gone. All for the love of modernity, moving forward. Rock and roll's dead. We don't need places to play rock and roll. We need places to plug our decks in to scratch them, and some CD players and some mixing. And we don't need. I'm not saying that that's not music, because it is music and people love it and they move to it, and that's important. It's just not what I consider music. And that's the way it is personally. And so those venues die. But in the hands of Mick and Nick, they're alive. And not just Mick and Nick, but all the people that work here, all the people who work in the bar, working on the sound, in the food, the punters like you and me that turn up to these venues, the bands that take a chance, the international acts that come and play in these small venues, so they can get their land legs in the country they're touring. I saw Venom Inc. there, my God. A life-changing moment. I had desperately wanted to see Venom in any form since I was 15. I'm 48 now. So that was a wonderful... And they're coming back, hopefully, COVID available next year. Now, look, I've rambled because I'm not feeling great. The final word on this was Witchskull live at the Basement. Amazing. Never lets you down. Every moment of that gig was wonderful. Everyone at the front row, everyone that headbanged with me, everyone that I got flicked... poor Dave, I flicked him in the arm here a few times. It's just that moment when someone puts their arm around your shoulder and you just start to headbang together over the barrier. And it's like that. It's just, you're one with 200 people, all there for the same reason. All to just love the music, feel the music, adore the people playing it, admire the people playing it, and really, let's be honest with you, fantasizing that it's you playing it. Because we've all been there. I do every single day. When I put on Spotify and I'm on a bus and I close my eyes, a lot of the time, I'm playing that guitar solo. I'm singing that vocal line. I'm playing that drum piece. I'm on that bass. I am a fantasist. That's what we are, and that's who I am. But it gives me joy, and I'm sure you're not the only one. I'm not the only one that does that. Man, I was that hero. I had that tennis racket. I even drew on the tennis racket frets and strings and dots, so I could pretend to practice and play along. I had drum kits made out of pillowcases, and I used my mum's knitting needles, pillows and things. Hairbrush in front of a mirror. It's not the purview of 13-year-old girls playing along to Madonna. We've all done it. Okay, I'm proud to say that. And do you know what? Now and again, when I'm playing music at home, I'll get my bass out and I will play along. Not plugged in, and not always the right notes, but I'm there, and it gives me joy. Okay, guys. So, long talk short, brilliant gig. Shame Benji wasn't there. I miss him. But Dave, again, great person to be with. You're all wonderful people. It was good to see all the faces. And Matt, if you're listening in Burrawa, what are you doing, man? Get down here soon. We need to gig hard together. I will be at your place. We will have a rock and roll day, and we will have some beers. Matt, if anyone doesn't know, is probably the biggest Iron Maiden nut I've ever met, and one of life's true gentlemen and a brother in arms. Anyway, that's me. I've gone on too long. Take it easy. And hopefully when I talk to you soon, I'll be out of this malaise. My voice won't sound as sexy, but anyway, it never does. Rock and roll, guys. Talk to you next week.
Tired of ads barging into your favorite news podcasts? Good news. Ad-free listening on Amazon Music is included with your Prime membership. Just head to amazon.com/ad-free news podcasts to catch up on the latest episodes without the ads. Enjoy thousands of Acast shows ad-free for Prime subscribers. Some shows may have ads.